Hello and welcome to the Books Crypto Club weekly catch-up on Zoom. It is Sunday the 12th of February 2023 and this week we are going to be talking about, well, we'll wait and see, shall we? Some weeks we talk about blockchain basics, cryptocurrency for starters. We sometimes talk about more advanced things like ICOs, STOs, TGEs, any other three-letter acronym really, even DeFi and NFTs at times as well. We hold these sessions every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. UK time, and they're open to everybody, novice and expert alike. So if you'd like to come and join us for a future session, there's a link with instructions below. Do come and join us, open every week, as I say, more the merrier. And if you're a novice and you've got some basic questions to ask, then this is a great opportunity to come and learn and listen. If you're more advanced and you're running a project or you're doing some things at more advanced level, then come along and talk to us. Anyway, with that, let's see who's going to come and join us today. Haroon, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
So what brings you along to the crypto world today then, Haroon?
Well, so I've been in crypto for a couple of years now, since probably 2017. And, I started my own YouTube channel. I thought I'd just try and network and just kind of see, I guess what opportunities arise from that. Hence the reason for joining the call today and just obviously trying to get a better understanding as well and increase my knowledge, I guess.
Brilliant. Well, I run these sessions every week, and the whole idea really, it's about building networks, building communities, helping people to help each other and that kind of thing. So that's why I always say it's open for novices or experts.
Sure.
And anyone in between for that matter, because I love the crypto community, the way it's very keen to help people learn and develop. And I'm also mindful that it's a minefield of buzz phrases and terms and
definitely
complexity in that, so we can help people.
Yeah.
So are you active in the crypto space then? Do you trade or do you follow particular cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, so I trade. I've got a YouTube channel, so I make regular videos and so on, and it's just kind of in its just kind of a couple of months in at the moment. So but in terms of crypto itself, I am trading. Have a fairly decent portfolio. So it's one of those where I don't actually hold too much Bitcoin, but it's more around the other alts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're probably quite similar to many others, particularly if you got interested around 2017, that would be just before it hit peak of Bitcoin.
The 20 grand.
Hitting 20,000 and then falling off a cliff over the new year and dropping to about 8,000, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So initially when I joined, so basically it was around $3,000 at that time. And that's when I kind of had interest in Bitcoin because I saw it pop up as a investment opportunity. And I didn't know that there was someone who I worked with, and you would never know that this individual was investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum in like the early days. So he's the individual then that got me into I guess pointed me in the right direction of where to trade and kind of what assets to go for, and I guess never really to, if you do make a loss, then never really to kind of beat yourself up about it as well. So
it's one of those interesting things that you listen to people who've joined their crypto journey at certain times, and the ones who joined in 2017 have all been through that journey of seeing Bitcoin go up to $20,000, thinking it's going to the moon, and then it collapsing down to $8,000, and then it building back up again, and so it reached, was it $61,000 at some point, and then collapsing again. So if you've been through this hoop a few times, you get a little bit comfortable with rapid drops and rapid rises, and that. Always interesting. So that's good that you've kind of been through that.
And I guess when it hit, even in 21, to be honest, I didn't really learn my lesson then as well to, to take a lot of profit. So, it was one of those where my portfolio increased, but then it kind of came down very quickly as well. So, just kind of setting myself up for the next halving, I guess now.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And it's always the thing, because I'm constantly being asked, oh, do you recommend going into this or that or the other? And I always say,
Yeah,
I don't give recommendations. All
yeah,
I know is that in the world of crypto, one of three things will happen. Prices are either going to go up, down, or stay the same. And I don't know
yeah,
which. And that's
yeah, sure.
of no use whatsoever. So, hey, Elena. So Elena's just joined us.
Hello, Gary. Hello,
Good
Arun.
evening to you. Yeah,
Hi.
hey.
Good evening.
So we've got Arun's joined us. He's been meaning to join for a while. It's the first time he's actually managed to come along today. Arun, Elena's one of the regulars on this session. She's I always describe her as one of my superstars
Oh,
because
okay.
she's more. I'd say she's more into the blockchain than the crypto. I would suggest in that she's interested
Yeah.
in the use cases of blockchain, and crypto is just part of it. But I always give her credit for coming up with some fantastic simple questions that really
Mm.
make you rethink, which is what we all need in this kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I have any questions, I'll make sure I'll ask them today.
Yeah, and Elena always does ask them, and they are brilliant ones as well. I love it, and it shows how it is that when you've been in this space for a few years, you stop thinking about explaining some things at times.
Yeah.
Or you come up with comments and you make a flyaway comment, and everyone's going, sorry, what's a TGE? Or wherever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So Elena's great because she calls me to account at times, and she says, at the beginning of this call, you said, what can you just explain? That's great. Yeah. So we're just saying, Arun been into crypto since about 2017, which means from a crypto point of view, so seeing a few of the peaks and troughs and that kind of thing. And that's where it's interesting as well. I keep hearing this term at the moment. I was on a webinar the other day, and they were complaining about the crypto winter that we're in. And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
That's just irrelevant. It's just prices going up and down.
Yeah. I mean, do you do any kind of trading as well in terms of charting and so on?
I have done. I'm not active in that space now. I actually went through a phase where I used to do trading of shares and commodities and that years ago.
Yeah.
So I had an understanding that was transferable, in that I could read candlesticks and I knew about open, high, low, close, volume.
Yeah.
I knew things about like 200-day moving averages and golden crosses and all these charting things and that. And all of that is completely transferable into the crypto world in terms of using the tools. But crypto behaves completely differently to shares, currencies, and commodities. Because shares, ultimately, underneath a share price is an underlying asset of value. There's a business that's making money, and it's either making more money, less money, it's diversifying, it's doing whatever. It's fairly predictable, and you can see what's going on with different industries, and you can see trends in that. With crypto, people keep saying to me, what is it that's the major influence on crypto prices? And I say it's a butterfly in the Amazon, and it's flapping its wings, and that's why Bitcoin suddenly went up or down or whatever. It's
Sure.
far less predictable. However, I will argue that technical analysis does work in crypto, but not for the reason people think it works. I'll explain that in a moment. Sorry, I just didn't want to splutter into the microphone. And the reason for that is that technical analysis in crypto is very good at analyzing what everyone else is analyzing. And therefore, it's a very good indicator of what people in the market are thinking. The actual underlying asset is irrelevant. It's simply the very fact that you know that if something goes below a particular price, or you see a Fibonacci sequence, or you see a golden triangle, or whatever you want to call it, that the market will probably react in a fairly standard way against that. And so I find I used to do some trading, as I say. I tried it in crypto, and I actually tried as an experiment one day. I just spent 8 hours in a cafe trading and doing scalp trading for the day.
Yeah.
So great fun. Just choose 3 cryptocurrencies, monitor them for the day, constantly buying, selling, blah 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 type thing. Great fun, loads of pressure. coffee shop couldn't figure out what was doing, but I bought loads of coffee off them, so they didn't care. And I did quite nicely. I made several £100s in the day. But then I worked out how much stress I was putting myself under and how much capital I was exposing It's like, it's not actually worth it. I can make more money teaching people stuff and then put some into the crypto. So I don't actively trade now.
Sure. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. But you find that different people, there used to be someone who used to come on this call each week up in North Wales, and he was an active trader, and he was constantly scalping Ethereum, I think it was in particular. And, you know, he was making a few $100s, and it all adds up, which is great as long as you can end up with higher rising trades and sinking ones.
I think it kind of depends on the time frame that you use as well, doesn't it? If you're trading on the 8 hourly, then you probably get less trades in over the course of a week or so, and that's probably adjustable around if you've got another job as well.
Yeah.
If you've got your daytime job. Whereas if you're using like the 5-minute chart or the 1-minute chart, then it's more around scalping, isn't it?
Yeah, and the problem with scalping as well is that you're constantly paying exchange fees.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, you know, people look at crypto and they say, oh, Bitcoin's gone up 3% today. That's incredible, you know, compared to like stock exchange. 3% in a day is a big move. But when you start looking at the typical trade that people put on, making 3% on that, you know, you think about how many thousands of pounds you have to put in order to make that 3% worth something, and then subtract off the exchange fees and all this kind of thing. It's like, it's okay for some. That's why there's been a real growth around algorithmic trading. So you train a bot to do it. I've done some stuff with a couple of the bots that do that as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty convinced now that AI trading bots are simply a very efficient way of you losing your money faster.
Yeah.
It seems to be that thing. Now, it's all because you have to set up the options, the parameters, the configurations. And if you get that right, then brilliant. You can be well ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But it's surprisingly difficult to do that. And I used to be in a few of the chat groups talking about these things, and everyone was moaning about how they couldn't just quite get it right. But if you could, you'd be very well off indeed.
No, definitely.
So where's your interest, Arun, in terms of crypto then? Do you say you got some Bitcoin, some altcoins, but do you just dip in and dip out, or do you just look at the market?
No, so the way I kind of play it at the moment is I've got my kind of long-term investments where I'm holding Ethereum, probably coins like Mina, IMX, some gaming coins. Got a few AI coins as well, for my longer term portfolio. Again, there's a bit of debate about how AI is going to be actually fitting in with crypto, although the narrative of AI is actually running right now. But trying to combine the two together, that's still a bit of an unknown. But yeah, so I've got I guess I've got my longer term bags, and then the shorter term I've just kind of that's what I was talking about around trading. So I've got, I normally trade on the 8 hourly and make a couple of trades per week or per month, which hopefully, have so far come out well, apart from last week where we had a bit of a dip in the market because of the whole SEC news. Mm-hmm. So I did lose a bit of money there, but yeah, so that's kind of how I'm playing it at the moment. I've got my longer term bags and then the shorter term just for what I trade, I guess, on a weekly or monthly basis.
Okay. It's interesting you mentioned AI. The call we had last week, we ended up talking most of the time, in fact, about ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, I've been using that a lot at the moment. It's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's certainly, I think there is going to be an increased overlap between the three. In fact, I describe in some of the training sessions I run of the new triangle of forces of IoT, so devices and mobile phones, all this kind of thing for capturing data, blockchain for storing data, and AI for analyzing data. And it's kind of like the new paradigm of forces.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of growth in those kind of areas. So that'll be interesting. I see we're just being joined by a couple of other people as well. Is it Pirijan and Gerald? Hi, both.
Hi.
Go beyond the hi. Say who you are and introduce yourself.
Sorry, let me get my camera set up.
Well, Arun, again, just going back to the thing, there's a number of AI-related blockchain projects, the names of which escape me at the moment.
I've got a few. I mean, I've got SingularityNet and Vio. I think it's Vio or something like that. And there was another one that I was looking at, which was, I think the ticker was ALI, and it was to do with AI for NFTs. So it sounded quite interesting.
Okay. Singularity.net, I'd certainly recommend people to go and check that out.
Yeah.
So the website is just singularity.net. Really interesting because they are doing a lot of stuff around AI and blockchain.
Yeah.
And the one of the few companies, if you understand how AI works and how machine learning works, blockchain's actually not usually ideal for that. But Singularity have designed things so that they are a lot more suitable. So definitely worth checking. So
I think they actually had involvement in designing that robot as well, Sophia, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, to be honest.
Excellent.
Hi, actually, that's my son name. I'm Gach. So I'm working for a company called Guardian Link. We've been in the industry, blockchain industry, for like the last 7 years. Last 2 years, we are into B2C. We kind of 360-degree solution providers, NFT solution providers. We work with brands, celebrities, and also we do our play and earn games. So actually, I'm operating from London, head office in India. Then we have office in Singapore, where we are actually operating from, trading from.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us. Sorry, I didn't catch your real name then. I suppose your son's.
Gaj, G-A-J.
G-A-J. There you go, Gaj. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you. I just saw the message on a WhatsApp group, and I thought could be late. I realized I was 15 or 20 minutes late. I just clicked on the link.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not a problem at all. And as I was saying to Arun before, this group is just for anybody really. They can join whenever they want, leave whenever, and it's for novices and experts and people who are running projects as well. So, and in fact, we've got someone who's just joined us at the moment, JT, who both runs projects and is heavily into this space as well. How's it going, JT? Where are you today? Back in Dubai, by any chance?
Hey, no, I just came a couple of days from Dubai and from Israel. I was in Tel Aviv. Actually, I was in Tel Aviv when the earthquake in Turkey occurred, and I woke up like at 3 a.m. with everything shaking. I was on the 23rd floor, of a hotel.
Yeah.
And I came to the windows, look in front of me, and there was the Ministry of Defense of Israel. Yeah. And I saw it moving left and right. I was like, what the hell? I was so confused. I wake up at 3 a.m. And then I looked down from my window, and it was my building, my hotel. I never think anything like that. He was moving so much to the left and to the right. Quite scary, to be honest,
Wow.
Yeah. And then on the same day, so this 3 a.m. and I didn't sleep because I was afraid of aftershocks and so on,
Mm-hmm.
And in the evening, like there was a hurricane, like 150 kilometers winds, everything was flying in Tel Aviv. It was insane. What's the likelihood of, what's the chances of you getting too severe events, nature events in 24 hours? Insane, honestly,
Take the hint. Do not go back to Tel Aviv. Nature's trying to tell you something. Yeah. I know something. I've stayed in a few high-rise hotels, and I have thought I should have brought my own parachute with me. I did actually used to have a parachute for when I was flying in that, and it was always funny if you get on an airplane and you're checking your bag in, and your hand baggage is a parachute, because they always look at you suspiciously. It's like, what's this? It's a parachute. if you've got 150-kilometer winds, you're not going to be jumping out of a building with that. So
Yeah, I went there to the Starkware global conference. A pretty good technology, you know. I think the only guys for now that are getting ZK right, you know. You should look at it, Gary. Very, very good technology. Google invested in them. I think 3 governments already invested in them. I think they might be looking at ZK for their CBDC or something. I don't know why there so many people interested in investing in them, you know. But so I went there. So I quite liked it, you know. I met the founders, had a conversation with them. I was impressed, to be honest, you know.
So explain a little bit more, because otherwise Elena's going to say, what's ZK anyway? Because my understanding is ZK is zero knowledge, as in zero knowledge proof. So
Yeah.
Is that what the company is?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So Elena...
Well, it's more than that, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably worth explaining for anyone who doesn't know what zero knowledge is. It's the concept that if you think about, if you walk into a bar, and typically if you walk into a bar to buy alcohol, you have to be above a certain age, and so you have to provide some form of identity. You know, so you'll use your passport, ID card, or whatever, to prove that you're over 18. Well, in actual fact, you don't need the ability to show your date of birth. What you need to do is to prove that you're over 18. And so the concept of zero knowledge is that you can provide sufficient details to prove that you qualify for something in some way. So rather than using identity, you're using verifiability type thing. So it's, instead of holding my date of birth, all you need to know is I'm over 18. Okay, and that's a simple explanation of zero knowledge. Now, when you extend that into other things, when you're looking at things like who can log into a system, do you necessarily need a list of login IDs and user IDs and passwords, or do you need the ability to prove that someone's got the authorization to log in? And it's the authorization that you need to hold, not their identity. JT, is that roughly a fast track version of what zero knowledge is?
Yeah, pretty much. What ZK is, what Starkware has done was to create something new. It's called ZK Stark. Yeah. Okay. They invented really that. So that enforces like the integrity and privacy of all the computation necessary to own blockchains. Yeah. Okay. So they use kind of some new ways of doing cryptographic proofs. Yeah. It's quite cool. You should look at it, because I think they're going to be the future, you know, for ZK anyway.
Sorry, JT, did you say that you're talking about Starknet, Starkware?
Yeah, so Starkware, yeah, Starknet is not live yet. Yeah. But it's going in the right direction.
We are working with them. We are creating a layer 2 solution with them, because they've been partnered with Immutable X, and they have like a layer 2 solution, and they do white label products as well. So the layer 2 solution is like a kind of gas free, but which means they will be bearing half of the cost, maybe hosting, and rest of them on the company who wanted to use their technology. Yeah, we've been working with them.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Starknet is a permissionless, decentralized. Yeah, but I'm just concerned, and I spoke to them there, and I asked them really about decentralization aspect, you know. And I think 2,000 nodes, unfortunately, which is what they're looking at, I don't think is going to give. It's not going to give enough, you know. That's my view anyway. They said it will be good, yeah, but I don't want to tell much about the conversations, obviously, you know, but they are in research mode to make sure that they can actually increase that decentralization. There's an issue that I put to them, and I don't want to kind of put them on the spot, you know, but and I know for a fact that they are in research mode, and they almost solved that problem, you know. But I'm quite positive about that, you know.
Definitely worth keeping an eye on, isn't it? I see we've got D-Mal's just joined us as well, although he's walked away from the camera now. Hey, D-Mal.
Hi.
Back.
Hi, sorry, I've just been in a coffee shop doing a couple of TikToks because I'm trying to boost my social media presence these days. But pleasure to be here. Sorry, I was in a bit of a rush and it just got 20 minutes late. Had to get the Wi-Fi code. I'm in a new hotel since yesterday and it's just time is going on. You've got to catch time. So pleasure to, yes.
Whereabouts are you at the moment then, if you're in a
So I'm
hotel?
in sunny Cyprus, Larnaca.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yes, so my godfather's from Cyprus, so I came with him because he's trying to sort out some stuff with his family and his properties here. He should be joining in a little while. He's a chartered surveyor and mortgage advisor from before. You might know him, Pavlos Joseph. You might have seen him around some events and stuff.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm really looking forward to sharing some insights about what brainchild we've been thinking about, how the infrastructure should run, about CBDC, and for especially framework for security. I know you mentioned this hard fork of Ethereum. We need to make sure that when the e-pound or whatever it's going to be called comes into play, I think we need to be making sure that these kind of situations cannot happen. So we do need some form of I wouldn't say centralization, but we would need some sort of oversight of the network, similar functionality maybe as XRP has with their network infrastructure, how RippleNet operates around the world, and how international banks and central banks are able to plug onto the XRP network and function smoothly, basically. So yes, I'm really, really happy to join for this meeting. I'm surprised that you posted about it.
But brilliant. It's just we talk about whatever we end up talking about each week in these things. So in fact, Elena and I last week we ended up talking about ChatGPT, which is JT's not a favourite subject, but there is an overlap between AI and blockchain and crypto and all that kind of. And it's interesting. You were talking about CBDCs, where I know I posted out a message before about this session saying, you know, opportunities to talk about CBDCs. So Central Bank Digital Currencies, really interesting in the UK at the moment. One of the announcements made during the week by the UK Bank of England, they're doing an exploration, speaking to the public in there. And some of the other stuff that's coming up is that they seem to have Ripple quite closely engaged already with some of those things. So you kind of get a feeling that there's certain design approaches, shall we say,
Absolutely.
are being encouraged. Is that they're doing the classic thing of the way to get ahead of regulation is to be part of the regulators.
Absolutely.
So definitely good on that. Cool. Gaj, I don't know, where does that sit with you in terms of things, in terms of like government type projects and that kind of thing?
To be honest with you, I've been just operating from here, but we are not into. We haven't even launched our token yet. So we've been like a blockchain B2B, like a development and R&D company. So last years we are exploring into NFT, kind of NFT market. So we've been there, but we never thought about bringing our token because of the regulation. So we may, but the company is registered working in India. We don't have any kind of registered. We are not registered in the UK yet. So I would like to know what's this. I mean, I know CBDC. I mean, they've been. I know they are working with XRP Ledger, and they are launching a digital currency in Palau, and they're also working in XRP and CBDC in Bhutan, and they're heavily into the government organization XRP.
Yeah.
So,
and in fact, your other one with you mentioning India, because India is currently trialing a retail CBDC at the moment. I think it's with 7 banks, is it, including ICINI and a few others?
Yes.
ICINI they're working with, I think, is one of them.
No,
I don't know what the technology is that they're using.
Now, what we are doing, interesting thing is we are about to launch a self-custodial wallet, but mobile OTP authenticated self-custodial wallet.
Okay.
And we are testing with Indian government police in South India. So we are close. No, I wouldn't say it's very early stage to say that we are working with CBDC, but we are trying to get approval from them.
Okay, because was it the government of Telangana who were doing a lot of stuff?
Telangana,
Yeah.
but the hub is Bangalore. When it's come to IT and crypto and NFTs, Telangana, the government, state government, we have a different. Every state have their own government, then central managed. So it depends on the CM, central minister, and the IT kind of technology ministers. So South India, Chennai and Telangana, and they are really working. They are giving like a fund for startups, and they're trying to work with the technology at the same time with the government. And CBDC is, I think they're very active. But I don't have anything in because I'm in the UK. I visited the head office last year, but I'm planning to go to Chennai probably next month.
Okay.
I would like to get my CTO probably next conversation. He's the one who's working with CBDC, and he's the one that created that wallet. Probably he will be the right person to talk about Indian law and what CBDC is doing in India.
It'd be really interesting because I know RBI, who, for those who don't realise, are the regulator, it's the Reserve Bank of India, who undertake a regulatory perspective. They typically are quite against crypto, I think it's fair to say. But then I seem to remember the Supreme Court also came up with another decision a few months ago, which was quite pro-crypto. And I know the Indian government keeps saying that they're about to announce something on crypto, and they keep putting it off and keep putting it off. And in fact, there was a special committee that was due to make an announcement, but that didn't seem to happen. So,
but they're already planning. Or they started doing their e-rupees, the digital currency again. So Indian, I wouldn't say anything.
It's all right. I'm busy thinking of kovalam curries and my favourite days in Chennai and that. So we'll keep it to the food and Andhra Pradesh and that kind of area. Yeah, it's certainly interesting stuff, and there's a lot of stuff going on around the world with CBDCs at the moment. It seems to be quite an explosion. I can certainly recommend that there's a website which I think is called CBDC Tracker. And that actually gives a list of all the CBDC activities around the world, and whether it's retail, so the kind of stuff that we might end up using, like digital money, or wholesale, which is more the settlement layer type thing. So it's quite fascinating stuff. So
what was that for? Sorry, settlement layers and
settlement layers. So you think about when people talk about money and digital currencies and CBDCs. They tend to forget that there's at least two types of money, and by that I don't even mean cash. There's money there's kind of consumer money, there's retail money, and this is where you buy and sell things in the shops and you get paid and this kind of thing. You've then got a settlement layer. And
international bank of settlement style, you mean, right?
Exactly. So BIS, which is Bank of International Settlements. And this is where you get a load of stuff running over the SWIFT network and message payments and all this kind of thing. That's at the wholesale layer, which can actually operate separately from retail. So you find that when people talk CBDCs, it's often worth saying, well, do you mean retail, as in what people are going to see, or wholesale, which is doing intercompany, intercountry or intercompany settlements?
Trade, yes.
So this is where there was an interesting project last year in the Middle East, in the UAE, called Project ABER, so ABER, and that was an inter-country settlement scheme between, I think it was 7 banks, between, I think it was Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and I've forgotten the others, but it was all about inter-country, inter-bank settlement schemes using crypto on it.
You see, this is going to, I think, Gary, that this whole system of CBDCs now, it's going to change the game because, as we all know, BIS and all this settlement money, it's just digits on the screen now. If you try to go to the bank and take 100,000 to them of your legit money, and you say, look, can you put it in your bank? They'll gladly take it off your hands within 1 minute. But if you want to go and withdraw your 100,000 from the bank, they'll tell you come back in 48 or 72 hours, please, my friend.
It's all changed. If you go to a bank now and walk into a bank and say, hello, here's £100,000, dollars or whatever, it's actually quite difficult to get them to take it.
You better have a lawyer's paper and accounts ready to show them with a whole file full of certified and notified documents and stuff like that. Yes, absolutely.
They have to go through the whole proof of funds, source of funds, KYC, AML, 6 MLD, which is the money laundering directive. They need to go through all sorts of stuff now. The other thing as well, it's worth sharing on here just in case anyone doesn't know, but typically with a bank account, when you deposit your money to a bank account, it ceases to be your money.
Yes.
And people either go, yeah, I know that because I'm in crypto and I realized that the hard way, or they don't. And in actual fact, when you deposit money in a bank account, you are loaning the bank the money. And so you are now a creditor of the bank, but that money is the bank's. It's no longer yours. And people go, so what? And what it means is if the bank goes bust, you're a creditor and you're an unsecured creditor, which is
you're insured up to 85,000, isn't it? Yeah. So it's better if you are a man of a lot of finances, it's better to have your money spread around and put 80 here, 50 there, 40 there. It's obvious. So if one goes bust and you don't lose the majority of your funds. That's why a lot of people, but a lot of my older brother used to say to me, why do you have all these accounts, Starling Bank, Revolut and all this? I said, because the more accounts you have, I don't have 250 grand, but when I will have 250 grand, I want to make sure my money's safe. You know?
So a quick 2 cautionary things there. One is if you are fortunate to have more than those base levels, then you have to make sure that if you have spread it across multiple accounts, that those different banks or those different bank accounts aren't part of the same group, because it's actually 85,000 per group. So if you've put your money with TSB, Lloyds and wherever, if they're all part of the same group, it's only 85.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, and this is really pertinent with you being in Cyprus, is that you can still get the situation of what happened in Cyprus a few years ago of the government doing a haircut, which is where they take
haircuts. Yes.
They call it a haircut, and it's basically they took 20% of your money. But remember, it's not your money once it's with the bank, and that's how they can get away with it. So yeah.
Look, the CBDCs are not going to solve any of those problems because they can just at any time to stop your money, you know. Because exactly. A lot of people don't understand one thing, yeah, the difference between programmable money and programmable payments. And CBDCs that are implementing programmable payments are great, you know, and we should really all support and be pro. But we should all be for it, you know. But programmable money, they just can just say you don't have this money anymore, and you know, in milliseconds, it's frozen on your wallet, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they can expire. They can say if you don't spend it in the next 30 days, then you lose it, you know. I mean, so many things they can do with it. For me, it's the worst thing that is going to ever happen to money, you know, is implementing CBDCs that have programmable money. And the majority of countries are going that way. It's absolutely terrible. And a lot of people just don't get it, you know, because they do not understand it. You know this. You and I spoke about this several times, you know.
Well, I've got the nightmare scenario that if you think that's bad, there's an even worse level beyond that. And this is some stuff I've done some work on, which is biometric payment systems, whereby if you want to buy or sell something, you don't need to use cash or a wallet or a card or touch to pay. You use facial recognition. Now, all of a sudden, you're linking your identity with payments. And again, as JC was saying, that means that you can program it so it can refuse, it can reject, it can reduce. And all of a sudden, you've got this intrinsic link between your identity and payments, which you can kind of understand if you're talking big numbers. You know, if you're transferring millions of pounds, you want kind of some identity. But at the moment, cash is the only means where you can pay for something without needing to prove who you are. And that could all change with things like facial recognition, fingerprints, payments, all that kind of stuff. Elena.
You know,
sorry.
yes, sorry, go on.
Elena, were you about to ask one of your profound questions there?
Facial recognition and payments.
Yeah.
Even though this system hasn't been implemented yet, but hasn't it started happening when we pay with our bank card, when we link the bank card to the phone?
Apple Pay, yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it all very much traceable?
Yeah.
And isn't everything recorded anyway? So if we all move on to the facial recognition, how is it going to change the lives of the 99% of people?
So I was actually on TV a few months ago about this, being interviewed about this, because in the UK, some of the retail shops, so Sainsbury's, Tesco, a couple of others, I think, in the north of England, were actually doing facial recognition trials. So the customer would walk into the store, look at the camera, and that would be the payment type thing. So you're right that this kind of stuff is already going on in some ways. And it's one of those things that my argument is always, this is technology. This is just the nature of the way things are going. It's how you use technology and how it's governed, which is the important thing. You know, aviation is technology. You know, we create airplanes that can fly hundreds of people, thousands of miles, and it's all a good thing. Or we can put bombs on them and we can destroy people's lives. It's all about responsibility of how we use technology appropriately. So yeah, we are on that journey already. Where, as you say, you're using facial recognition to unlock your phone or your laptop. So there's already the means to capture your image and this kind of thing. It comes down to will it be centrally managed or will it not? So like on a laptop, you can have facial recognition to go through the security, but that doesn't go to a central server which has got a copy of your image to check. So it's decentralized type thing. But if it's suddenly centralized, then again, that, as JT says, it gives the ability for it to be switched off. So a bit like how the Canadian truckers a few months ago found their bank accounts had been frozen because they were taking part in a protest. The same could happen with a digital currency. So this is where it's important that we make sure, as JT says, digital programmable payments could be a really good thing. Digital programmable money may not be such a good thing. It all comes down to how much you trust governments and organizations, really, I guess.
We all trust governments, don't we?
Yeah, we love the governments.
So listen, you're absolutely right. And Elena, the problem is that you should never link identity to money. You shouldn't. They're totally two different things. And they are connecting both, you know, the CBDC with identity. And that's so dangerous, absolutely dangerous. The problem is that a lot of the people there are politicians nowadays, they don't even know what you're talking about. So the government just go ahead and they just say, hey, vote, and they'll go and vote, you know. So we are really at crossroads here, you know. I'm no activist of any kind, you know, but I understand when things start to go in a way that we shouldn't go. And then the technology, I mean, there's so much stuff out there that is not really good, you know. One of the things, I'm sorry to say this, but, you know, everybody knows I'm an anti-Ripple, anti-XRP guy. You know, I think it's wrong, it's bad, it's centralized, the tech is not good, you know. And a lot of people are implementing CBDCs based on technologies that are, you know, people that are in cybersecurity and hackers have already exposed them. And it's going to cause chaos if they go ahead with that type of CBDCs and they will be hacked. I mean, look at all of those smart contracts out there. Yeah, that we've seen in the last 2 years that have been hacked and hundreds of millions have disappeared, you know.
Even
and
the biggest ones.
CBDC. imagine now a CBDC implemented on a tech that is not really good, you know? It's going to be chaos. I don't even want to think about it, you know?
I do think that is something that doesn't seem to be getting a lot of attention, is system resilience. You know, the advantage, at least with cash, is that if electricity gets switched off, you can still transact. Whereas if you haven't got phone signal or you haven't got power for your phone, you're suddenly limited. So yeah, all needs to be thought about. Yeah, definitely.
Another thing I just want to...
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, just to avoid all of that, in terms of CBDC and so on, why can't you just pick up your ledger card and make your transaction in Bitcoin?
Your transaction cost, if everyone done that, your transaction cost would cost you more than the money you want to send.
But as a concept, then yes. I mean, this is why if I'm making payments, I'll use something like Litecoin, where the transaction costs are minimal. And this is where this is where I totally get the point. And there might actually be other alternatives as well. So I still think that Elon Musk acquired Twitter, not just because he wanted a social media platform to broadcast his own stuff, but because a lot of people didn't realize Twitter has got a micropayments facility built into it, which means he's just bought a company with, was it 700 million users or whatever?
Yeah.
With a system like WeChat Pay.
Yep. Yeah, and he's trying to create the equivalent of WeChat. Yeah.
Do you know who else has done it? Telegram network, Bondkeeper, and you can. I've sold some domain handles because I went and I got like 10, 20 SIM cards and started putting my brain power in. Registered loads of names, and I sold one domain for $300. I was like, wow, Web3 lawyers. I had at Web3 lawyers. So obviously we need lawyers in Web3. Someone will make a channel from it. They'll make a sort of a recruitment agency could like to plug people through to all of the Web3 lawyer directory almost, and they take a commission out of it. And obviously the payments can be done through Tonkeeper. Now to send money through Tonkeeper, it costs you 0.01 ton. So it's like 2.5 pence. It's not that much. So it's quite a good network. I've got the wallet. I've got the Tonkeeper app. They've also got Fragment where you can list your auction, your domains. And now they've actually added a lot more functions to Telegram. I remember when we had the offering for the ICO of Telegram, and everyone was a bit afraid, like, oh, these Russians are raising 2 billion. Where's the money going to go? And then there was some issues with their raise where they had to refund a lot of people certain amounts of money because of bonus or something like that. And a lot of people have waited who got into the early stage rounds of TON. They've waited it was in 2018. So 19, 20, 21, 20, nearly 5 years, four full years they've waited. And now to see how Telegram launched Tonkeeper, they got their infrastructure done. They slowly came out. Now their attention's on TON. This is a hidden gem, TON, because that's going to be Russia's form of WeChat Pay. Yeah, but it will be for everyone. And I think their infrastructure, that TON is running on the open network. It's a very good blockchain-based infrastructure. So I'm very surprised.
I have to disagree there. TON is crap, and anything related to Telegram is crap. That's why a lot of people in security, they actually have Telegram on their second phone, on their burner phone. There's reasons for it. You know, it's not to discuss here, but you know.
You have to be smart with your security.
If you want, we can have a separate conversation, you know, but not here on something to be recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, but, you know, it's like WeChat, you know, if you accept WeChat, go with the problems that everyone knows it has. Yeah? Nothing stops you from doing that, but you just be careful, need to be careful. That's like I said before.
Yeah.
There is crap networks out there, compromised networks out there. There are governments sponsor networks, you know, the ones that people should look at to build on, it should be really truly decentralized networks. Yeah, but the question there about Bitcoin, yeah, it's correct. You know, it'll be too expensive. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's why I think the selection has to be cheap, you know, and it has to be decentralized. And the people are moving to layer 2s and layer 3s with ZK. Yeah,
and what happened to Polygon? What happened to Polygon, JT? You see, This is the big problem. Polygon comes from India, and India was running Polygon a lot. All the Web3, 80% of the developers in Web3 and future tech are from India. So now the best ones, they're all from India, and they're from, what's the other country? Russians as well, but Russians have a different system as well. But the one who created this Polygon, the best layer 2, and Polygon had problems. And now India government is going to promote Algorand for a lot of things. So have a look. I saw it in one of the groups about Algorand and in the India agreement. It was recently posted in the last 2 days, or I might have seen it on Reddit. But I'm really, really shocked to see that India is going away from Polygon a little bit and going towards Algorand. So there's a lot of changes happening. With layer 2s, I agree. You should have a main chain and let other things run on layer 2. But if the main chain gets blocked and layer 2 gets blocked, everyone's blocked again. So we're also screwed.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm not a fan of layer 2s and layer 3s. And people who know me knows that, because I believe they become centralized again from something that was already decentralized. Yeah, Ethereum is decentralized. Well, was. But and then people are building stuff that centralizes again, and then they are going, oh, okay, let's patch here and let's put some ZK, trying to solve the problem. When fundamentally, at the core, the architecture is wrong. Yeah, and I don't want to get into much into that, but there are other solutions. I mean, people look at Arbitrum, for example. Yeah, that's a layer 2 that's everyone is talking about now, for example, and it starts to come new chains. Optimism. I mean, Sui, there's quite a few others coming out.
Eton Optimism is good. I like optimism.
So there is all sorts of things out there, but people are that's what I'm saying, Look, I know the guys at Polygon, I'm not going to talk anything about them, but, I always say to people, be careful with layer 2, which layer 2 or 3 you're going to select, because if you don't have proper architecture, if you don't have security on it, and we go back to CBDCs, what is the technology they implement? Who are the people advising them? And we know that, Gary, yes, in UK, we know what's going on with the advisory and the process, we think, in UK CBDC. And I think they're going to mess up big time, from everything I can see.
So I'm going to quickly offer some wrap-ups around some of that, because we've only got a few minutes left. So the first piece of advice I'd offer is, when you're looking at social media messaging apps, whether it's WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, or whatever, it's simply a question of which security agency do you want monitoring what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because it's all happening, so that goes on. The other thing is Arun's point about, can you not do it effectively peer-to-peer, which I seem to remember Bitcoin's white paper says exactly that. So yes, I think you're right. The ability to do peer-to-peer payments, even better wallet to wallet without going via a network, is definitely a thing. So I think you've got the right idea, just not necessarily with Bitcoin, because of what was being described before, that the latency, the delays, the cost of it kind of prohibits that. I think it's interesting, Demal, you were saying about the Indian government switching to algo. I suspect it might actually be that they're spreading their bets, and it may well be that they're actually looking at multiple options. And so I think any government that works with just one provider is heading for a fall, which links in very nicely with what we were just saying about CBDCs and working with a particular provider. That the biggest risk, and this is where financial regulators need to take responsibility, that the purpose of a financial regulator like the FCA in the UK, number one is consumer safety, making sure customers don't lose the money. Number two is systemic failure of the financial system.
Yes. And look, you mentioned financial regulators, but can we rely on the exact existing financial regulatory framework, or it needs to be completely revamped and a version 2.5 coming out?
I'm biased. I actually think when you look at regulatory frameworks, they're actually quite durable, and what you need to do is extend them to include crypto What you don't want is a MiFID for crypto, Basel IV for crypto, MiCA, well, MiCA is crypto, but you don't want regulations specifically for crypto. You want regulations that encompass crypto, I believe. That's my
Yes. I will try and find that article quickly. I think I have it in my. I didn't swipe it from the notifications.
Well,
so I'll just.
Dimo, while you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly, because we've only got a minute left. I just wanted to check.
Okay.
Has anyone got any quick questions or anything they want to quickly share before we finish for the day?
No, just, well, thanks for today.
As always, lots of things, and Arun, I realised that was probably a fire hose of all sorts of things coming in there. And that's often the way these sessions work.
No, I thought it was pretty good, pretty informative actually. So, yeah, really enjoyed that.
Well,
Here you go.
Do come again. You know, you're always welcome. And I love the way we end up talking about all sorts of stuff on this. As long as it's got a crypto blockchain connection, I'm good with it. And Gaj, you know, you want to come back next time, talk a bit more about your NFT projects?
Definitely. I would love to. Definitely. Thank you so much for offering that. Thank you.
That's no problem at all. And Dimal, if you've got your you're running a YouTube channel, did you say you're kicking off?
No, I've always been quite into marketing and promoting, but I never really used my skill in that sense because I always wanted to do it in the right way. And, you know, once you go, you can't go back. Yeah. So I think now I'm at a stage in my life where I've learned enough about SEO, marketing, and promoting yourself in a way where I wish to educate the general public a lot. I've got a lot of knowledge, and I learned everything in crypto myself, everything, head to toe. I worked in a payments processing company. I've worked at Simplex, Nuve, for 6 months as well. So I learned about payments as well and how the companies are dealing with fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. My humble opinion on this CBDC thing is, as I said, we should have e-sterling, which coincides with the existing system. So when you want to go and get a mortgage, you should put your 20,000 from your Lloyd's bank, have it notarized and verified and lawyer paperwork and accounts, and you must take that to e-sterling. If you want to take money abroad to start a business, you must go from pound, bank pound, retail pound to e-pound through Bank of England. And then Bank of England will organize with whichever partners, like running on XRP network, for example, and have partnerships with given banks that are oversighted by global financial authorities. So we kind of have an existing system, and then we link it with this new system and for settlements. So I think that would be a really good way, because then you don't interrupt the current framework, but then you also have this new framework going alongside it.
Dimal, come back on next week. I'd love to follow up on that. It's really interesting, because what you just described there was a stable coin in effect.
Basically.
Yes, yes, indeed. I was going to say that. Come next week, we will discuss it, because, you know, I want to also tell you that XRP is different from repo. Okay.
I know this. I know this.
So let's not confuse them.
Folks,
yes.
I'm just conscious. I really try to close these calls off at 8 o'clock if I possibly can. But thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for the enthusiasm and making some great things. That really good fun. Hope everyone enjoyed it. For anyone who's watching on YouTube afterwards and has to think of Dimal as well, do click on the like, subscribe, and join, and come along to do things. Dimal, if you want a separate chat, I've kicked off my own TikTok stuff and YouTube stuff. I know JT will hate the fact I'm mentioning TikTok, which is another listening device.
Man,
I'm also a musician, so I've come to Cyprus here with my uncle, my godfather, but I didn't go back to London because I've got some stuff to do here, I think. So, you know, life is one journey, and today's in elections here in Cyprus as well. So I think we might be seeing some changes happening in this place too.
Cool. Okay. Folks, thank you very much for your time and involvement. Have a great day. See you around.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Joram.